Shows that make you laugh. Shows that make you think. Music that moves you. It could only be one place. Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice, brought to you by photographer as an art, Harvey Randman, master photographer, located at 1307 North San Fernando Boulevard in Burbank, California. And attorney Ron Irwin's newly released publication, 5150, The Book. It's the story of Irwin as a young Marine who served 13 months in South Vietnam and the perspective that he learned during his service there. Author Larry Buford's book, Up to the Future, Time Travel Message in a Capsule, now available in paperback from Amazon for only $17.95. And from our new sponsor, State Farm, Agent Carla Green, who says, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, yours truly has a great love for the theater. So whenever we have a chance to have some players on the show, I definitely take much advantage of it. Now, today we have two well-known theater players here in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and they're our guests today. James V. Burks, who's been working with theater actors, actresses, and others for over 40 years in the business. Now, during this time, Mr. Burks has held numerous positions, including Director of Performing Arts, Special Projects, Founding Director, and Director, Leimert Park Vision Theater, where he's currently overseeing the $23.5 million restoration and construction of the theater. Ted Lange, renowned actor, producer, writer, educator, and director. He certainly exemplifies the Renaissance Man Theater Award that he received at the NAACP Theater Awards in Los Angeles and the Heroes and Legends Lifetime Achievement Award. Lange is a prolific actor of both stage and screen. He comprises the talents that have created a revered career and worldwide recognition. On May 10th of this year, Ted received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in recognition of his contribution to the history of television for his work on The Love Boat. And so today, Ted will be talking about the participation in this upcoming festival. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to James V. Burks.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, James. Always a pleasure to have you. Glad, as a player, one of the players. Glad to have you here.
Pleasure being here.
Indeed. Okay, you guys got an event coming up. Tell us about it, please.
Well, you know, about 6 years ago, 8 years ago, when I became the director of the Vision Theater, much of my work over the years have been about what's happening in South Los Angeles over the years since 1965 to the present. And I began to, when I was overseeing the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, I held a couple of conferences on the state of the arts in South Los Angeles, state of music, dance, theater, and literary arts. And that it's all connected in terms of what used to be there and what's now no longer existing in South LA. And so I saw Leimert Park as being the hub and centerpiece for the African-American community in South LA, surrounded by a void that's between, I'd say between the 10 freeway and Imperial Highway, where there's very little, with the exception of the William Grant Arts Center and the Watts Towers. Mm-hmm. And at one point, that area held some of the major theaters in LA. The Ebony Showcase Theater was one of the first theaters, probably in the country. And it started on Western Avenue and right around 48th Street in Western, and moved to Washington, where now the Nate Holden sits. There was also PASLA, the Performing Arts Society of Los Angeles, at 54th and Crenshaw, no longer there. The Mafundi Institute in Watts, the Watts Writers Workshop in Watts, the Francis Williams Corner Playhouse, Bea Richards Academy of Being, Fox Follies, and Crossroads Theater Company, owned by Marla Gibbs, who once owned the Vision Theater. Right. And then there was the indomitable Inner City Cultural Center that many of us came out of. I mean, I was director of the Institute of Performing Arts there for a little over 12 years.
You knew that guy, Bernard Jackson?
Quite well. Jack was a mentor to everybody. I mean, one of mine, one of my favorite people. I didn't realize what it took to survive being an arts administrator, particularly in our community. It's a challenge in itself because it's often you come in contact with people who've gotten so little that they're angry with you because you may have been the catalyst for why they didn't get what they thought they should have. But at the same time, the community is void of it now, and there was a lot of development going on in South LA right now. Crenshaw, with the gold line running up Crenshaw Boulevard, when that line opens in 2019, it's going to literally put the Leimert Park Village in connection with every single community, particularly every single African American community, every single African diaspora community in Southern California, from Kern County, Ventura County, San Diego County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Los Angeles County in Leimert Park. So it means access to Leimert Park is going to be very easy.
You know what? We do pay taxes, don't we?
Yeah.
And we're entitled to that, aren't we?
I think so.
I think so. After you, sir.
I was
Just thought I'd drop that in
I was
there.
having a conversation with Ted Lange earlier about our
Taxes.
community. Yeah, about our taxes and a theater that paid and a theater that's in our community that's paid by community people and taxes, and how it needs to be utilized a lot more. I didn't want the Vision Theater to fall prey to that same thing. I wanted the Vision Theater to be open and accessible. So I spent the last 6 years now, building connection between the community and the Vision Theater. I felt it needed to be reintroduced to the people. So when the construction finally happens, the total project is $35 million. This theater was built by Howard Hughes and the Leimert family back in 1931. So the building itself is historic, and it's on historic registers. And I've even had the International Historic Foundation at the Vision Theater about 2 years ago, where I gave them an overview of what's happening with the theater, and they were pleased with that. But around the Vision Theater, you have Leimert Park Village, all Art Deco, and needs to be incorporated into the Vision Theater. In other words, we needed to build a collaboration, a consortium of people with the same ideology about growing and building Leimert Park as a destination, as a tourist destination, as a theater destination, as an entertainment destination, because most of the businesses in Leimert Park are what you call the creative industry businesses, from Chaos Network to the World Stage to the California Jazz and Blues Museum started by Barbara Morrison, and also the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center, which is now a small theater in itself. Regency West, Fernando Pullum Art Center, LA Third Church or Spiritual Living, who does jazz every Wednesday night during the summer. So we have a lot of creative packages over there, but we also have roughly about 24 to 30 special events and festivals that happen in Leimert Park every year. And building a consensus among those events by getting them to work together and build what you call a strategic alliance, where we can leverage our combined expenditures. Festivals, people are doing festivals, but they're bringing in toilets, they're bringing in stages, they're bringing in tents and canopies and chairs and tables, but they're going out and renting them independently, getting them to think about collective and leveraging the collective dollars to go out for bid on their collective projects. So what we've been doing in the Vision Theater is building that kind of collective mentality where people now are willing to work together. Also, the Vision Theater, I said we needed to have to rebuild the theater in South LA. So I started this Readers Theater series about 5 years ago. This is the 5th year of the Leimert Park Festival of Staged Readings. And because we didn't have a theater, but we had a lobby, I felt that we can probably do readings much more than do plays that required a lot of technical and a lot of professional support. And it's worked out well. I mean, the first 2 years were probably difficult. People didn't believe we were going to do a theater festival, didn't believe we were doing festival in the lobby of the theater. But we've done, the first year we did 14 plays. The second year we did 16 plays. The third year we did 24 plays. Last year we did 17 plays. This year we're going to do between 14 and 16 plays. And each year they change in terms of the kind of material, kind of information. We're reaching younger audience, we're reaching older audience. We did a play this year called The Mighty Gents that was done 20, 30 years ago. And some of the cast that we had in it was directed by Bill Duke. We had Bill Cobbs in the piece. We had Richard Gant in the piece. We had Michael McKnight in the piece. It was so well received. We did it at the Regency West. That was the other thing. We had to move instead of doing, for instance, we would do festivals on the street, I said, well, no, you can't do festivals on the street. And much like the project that I did your show before called the African Marketplace, I said, you got to activate all of Leimert Park. So now when festivals come to Leimert Park, I said, well, what are you going to put in the Regency West? What are you going to put at the World Stage? What are you going to put in at the Barbara Morris Performing Arts Center? What are you going to put in the Vision Theater? So when people come now, they're coming to what you call a destination, a tourist destination. And that has a lot to do with where we're headed 10 years from now. So the Play Festival itself started with a vision to do an international Pan-African Theater Festival in Los Angeles to support what's happening on the East Coast at the National Black Theater Festival, but going a step further by creating an international theater festival. And I've had experience in dealing with international communities through the African Marketplace. And so we're talking with at least 6 to 7 countries, maybe more, that will be willing to send a theater piece to Los Angeles for that year. But basically, we're also looking at local theater. We're looking at regional theaters. We're looking at national theater companies. And there's no shortage of it. It's only a shortage in South LA. Most of those theaters that once existed in South LA are now producing their event on the west side, in Hollywood, in the Valley, because there's no home. And they're renting from other theaters. And those revenues could go into South Los Angeles. They could hire technical people, lighting technicians, sound technicians, stage hands, stage crew, and production stage manager. They can train people in that community. And our partnership is Southwest College. I sit on the board of Southwest College and LA Trade Tech. I'm now working on a economic development incubator with Trade Tech, the Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation. And so visually, I see things happening now. And it may seem fragmented in some people's eyes, but I see where we're headed and where we're going. The festival has been successful in a sense of making people aware that is theater in South LA. The demise of it through busing, where kids were bused out of South LA into the Valley for schools. And when they bus kids out of South LA, there goes the arts program. There goes the after-school activities, extracurricular activities. There goes the sports programs in South LA. And there goes the infrastructure in South LA. So I'm seeing the Vision Theater having its impact through Councilman Curran Price's cultural corridor along Central Avenue. It's historic. The Crenshaw Destination Project that Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson is doing, that's going to turn Crenshaw, where the light rail system comes up at 62nd Street and goes back down to 48th Street and connects with Leimert Park. It's historic because it unapologetically talks about the contribution of African Americans to the world. And I see what we're doing in the 10th District with Councilman Herb Wesson with Leimert Park. So I think we have a long-term goal, but with the support of people like Ted and Hattie Winston and Bill Duke and some of the well-known actors and some of the newer, younger actors and thespians who just not aware of the contributions these people made to the world, don't even know Inner City Cultural Center and how valuable Inner City was to the community, are going to realize it from what we're trying to do in Leimert Park.
Didn't I say he was a player? You are a player, sir. You have put your hands on a lot of things in this town. We thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome.
Now, in regard to the actual stage reading, tell us about that and exactly, okay, how many plays you're going to have?
Well, generally what we do is Readers Theater season, and it generally starts in January through May, and we select the best plays. Every 3 weeks we'll do a stage reading. It's not enough time. I mean, we had more plays submitted than we were able to read.
Wow.
And that means that we need to create Readers Theater series around South LA, and that may be the next goal. But we selected about 4 from this last series, but we've also selected plays of known writers from around the country. Sonetta Gibson's out of Detroit, and she's doing a piece called Soul Sisters, I think it is. We were going to do The Meeting again, that was directed by Bill Cobb. Everyone knows Bill Cobb. People were happy to see him perform in The Mighty Gents. He was in a wheelchair, but that added to the piece. Starletta Dubois and the cast that originally did that piece 30 years ago. And the piece actually played better at their age this time than it would have played then. Wow. And so and the 250 people that were in the Regency West thoroughly enjoyed the play. So we brought that play back as a series. We also have a play by a young cast that I wasn't here. I was out of the country at the time when the reading took place. but it was written by a professor out of UC Riverside, and it's called Dreamscape. But it talks about this young woman who was killed in Riverside County when she was sitting in her car.
Oh, yes.
And I heard it was a great piece. We also have a piece out of Chicago called Hopra, which is a contemporary piece. Younger audience, older audience would appreciate it. It's more of an opera, but it's a hip-hop opera.
So you got a lot for everybody.
Oh, we're trying.
Everybody.
We have the Elders Workshop, which these are older thespians, older women and men who took a theater class at the Vision Theater. We also have classes there. The Vision Theater is made up of the Manchester Junior Arts Academy, so we offer classes, and these are the older individuals who want to go back and study theater. Okay. And we've had productions by them and readings by them. We also have Cosman Russell's his play. We have The Unseen, a piece called The Shadow in Time by Jason Lord. This piece is out of New York. So I mean, we're showing variety of pieces. Barbara Morrison is supposed to do Big Mama Thornton piece, and we're now kind of struggling because she's been booked. And, you know, you run the risk of that. You book a great piece, and you know that, and particularly in the African American community, people have to work. And out of respect for that, we say, okay, we're flexible. If we do it, we do it. If we don't, we have to replace it with something else.
Gotcha. Now, right now, the schedule's out. What are the dates? When does the actual festival actually begin?
We actually open on Thursday evening, August the 23rd. Okay. And we close, at this particular time, we're closing on Labor Day, which is Monday, September the 3rd. Okay. We will run plays from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're running evening to matinees. Sometimes the shows are back-to-back and parallel one another, but that's the nature of the beast. I mean, our goal really is to use this theater festival to test how can we do an international theater festival. And most of my skill set is based on cultural tourism. Tourism is the largest economy in the United States, the largest industry in the United States. African Americans contribute about $115 billion annually in domestic impact on tourism. And we're trying to see how can we approach 2020 with an international Pan-African Theater Festival and benefit the community. Provide jobs not just on stage, provide jobs behind the scenes, provide jobs in administration, provide jobs to people who do marketing and people who do technology, internet.
Gotcha.
Social media. I mean, this is a better opportunity than it was 25 years ago when I was with Inner City Cultural Center.
Certainly.
Then you had to do typesetting. You had to go and plead to the media to promote your stuff. Please. I mean, I remember doing a project called I Ralder's Acting Competition that Ted created at Inner City Cultural Center. And that time, man, that was a challenge because then you didn't have internet. Now, you know, you can reach an audience of 1 million people simply by hitting a button.
You got a website?
Yeah.
You have a website? We
have a website for the Friends of the Vision Theater.
Okay.
And we have a website being developed now for the Theater Festival. Okay. Some things have transpired over last year where we had to make some adjustments in terms of not just having it under the auspices of the City of LA, Department of Cultural Affairs, but creating it so it's a standalone event supported by the City of LA, Department of Cultural Affairs, but with a group of people that are made up of Dr. Sandy Sheffy, Brian Johns, James Bronson. We have a couple of interns, Kaya Danzler and Faithfulness. We have a technical person who also works for the Getty, and Samuel Harad, and myself that sits on the consortium committee. Then we have Babette Azizi Glover and Stacy Stewart who came in and helped us with marketing. So we have a team of really solid people. I mean, our meetings are usually wine meetings, but you know, and I forget Ron Brewington sits on our committee. He doesn't drink, so we drink his share. But you know, we'll open and we'll have a reception, opening night reception, we'll have a closing night reception. So it's been a lot of fun.
Okay. Why do you have this event during odd summers when the National Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem, North Carolina is dark? Is there a reason for that?
Well, the plan is to have our theater festival, and I talked to Sylvia Hamlin, and I knew her husband, who started the National Black Theater Festival, about partnering with them to do a National Black Theater Festival in Los Angeles. But but with the potential of them saying we don't want to partner, although she said yes, they're willing to do this, we don't want to compete with them on the same year they're doing it. It just makes sense for us to do every even year, while the National Black Theater Festival does every odd year.
Got you.
So that people can go back East Coast and West Coast. And maybe we can engage people to understand that there is theater on the West Coast, and it's not all just New York.
Right.
I mean, how many people went to Winston-Salem, North Carolina before the National Black Theater Festival?
Right.
And it's turned into a major economic product for Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The average bed night, that's what they call in the tourism industry.
Yes.
The average bed night returned in 1996, it was about $550. Now it's about $750 per night.
Wow.
That's the contribution to the community. That means that people who are renting cars, putting gasoline in those cars, people are going to restaurants, buying newspapers, people who are filling hotel rooms, and then people are buying tickets for special events or theme parks. And you add that up, and that's a major economic force in this country. And not one African-American community in this country has a destination of merit that you can really talk about. You may go to Atlanta and go to the Martin Luther King Memorial, but at one point you could go to Harlem.
Yes.
Before Harlem is gentrified down and become
Yes, I know.
Upper Manhattan.
I was born in Harlem.
And the same thing's about to happen if we don't push back culturally.
Exactly.
In Leimert Park.
Right.
So I mean, I've talked to Roy J., who's a cultural entrepreneur out of Portland. I talked with Herbert and Gloria Solomon, who's the publishers of the Black Meetings and Tourism magazine. In fact, I'm doing a conference. I'm partnering with the International Africa USA International Chamber of Commerce, who's doing probably their 10th trade conference, and that opens at Cal State Dominguez on September the 27th. And I've convinced them to do 2 days in Leimert Park. And I'm putting together 3 panels. One of them deals with 2028, the Olympics and tourism. Right. And the other deals with the Pan-African athlete post-Olympics. Okay. What resources are there for them? And the other one deals with technology.
Okay. So. Again, we only have a few more minutes. Tickets, how much are the tickets?
Our festival is relatively inexpensive. We pay the actors, and we pay them the equity union minimum for paying actors. Sometimes we pay more. But our ticket prices and our houses are small, are $15. Now, they can purchase tickets, they'll be able to purchase tickets online at Eventbrite, but they'll also be able to go to Hot and Cool Cafe and purchase them at the site.
Right. Okay. James V. Burks, how do you want to be remembered?
In 1985, when I took the job with the Department of Cultural Affairs, I've gone through a lot of stuff with helping to steer people in the direction of culture and economic development. And I want to be remembered as an economic development, a arts and cultural economic development specialist who left a legacy in Los Angeles, provided jobs for hundreds of children, hundreds of adults, that it wasn't about me, it was about sustainability in our community, changing us from a social community to one that looks at capitalism as a culture, and one that we need to find a way to embrace in line with what we feel and how it partners and how it respects our culture as well.
Indeed. Well, listen, we want to thank you very much for coming by again. Well, it's been, 2 years since the last time I saw you?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. I guess that wasn't good on the last show.
No, you were great. You were great, my man. And again, player, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to take a break, and when we return, Ted Lange and what he's got to talk about. This is the Actor's Choice with your guest today, producer James V. Burks and director-producer, writer Ted Lange. The studio of Harvey Brandman, Photography as an Art, is proud to offer you a $100 discount off of any photo package for you or your family valued at $300 or more. Now, Harvey's been in the business for nearly a quarter of a century, and he certainly knows how to take care of you as a customer. So please give him a call today at 818-954-9294. That's 818-954-9294. You'll be glad you did. And by the way, please tell Harvey that you heard about this offer right here on The Actor's Choice. 5150 the book. It's the latest release from author and attorney Ron Irwin. As a young Marine, Irwin spent 13 months in Chulai, Republic of Vietnam. He went to war, as he puts it, 5150. The book is currently available in paperback at lulu.com. That's lulu.com. And Irwin says he'll give you 20% off the net book sales, split evenly between the veterans of foreign wars and Vietnam veterans of America. Book to the Future, Time Travel Message in a Capsule, is a new book by author Larry Buford. It's a historical and faith-based account of how what we do and is followed today will affect us tomorrow. The author also calls it an adventure for those who want to travel back through time. The book is now available for $17.95 in paperback from Amazon. That's Amazon. Get your copy today. And now a word from State Farm agent Carla Green. Roll that video, please.
Let me ask you something. What do you see when you look at your home and your car? Do you see a bundle? A combo deal? That's how other insurance companies see them. But a State Farm agent sees so much more. Because the State Farm agent sees your home and your car as more than just four walls and four wheels. They see the things you've worked really hard for. So why not give them the protection they deserve? Let me help you with that. Give me a call. State Farm agent Carla Green, 213-239-9675. I look forward to speaking with you.
Thanks, Carl. And like a good neighbor, you say State Farm is there. That number again, 213-239-9675. That's 213-239-9675. The Little Miss African American Scholarship Pageant is a nonprofit educational program for young girls aged 6 to 12 years old. The pageant will be held Sunday, August 12th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, 4718 West Washington Boulevard in Los Angeles. Doors open at 3 p.m., showtime 4 p.m. Tickets are available at the theater box office at 323-964-9766. That's 323-964-9766. Or check out the website at www.littlemissafricanamerican.org. For more information, please call 818-570-0631. And finally, if you have a product, a service, or an upcoming event that you'd like to be advertised on this program, please call 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. Please note, our prices are very affordable. Thank you. This is The Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Our guest today, producer James V. Burks, and director, producer, writer, and renowned actor Ted Lange.
Tan-tan.
Roll that video, sir.
Go to Texas. Unite the regiments there, join forces with Kirby Smith.
Start a whole new one.
Well, I got gold. I was a soldier. I'll die fighting. They want to take my gun, they can pry it from my cold, dead hand.
Master Jeff, I want to see you end up in Arlington.
Arlington, that's another example of northern areas.
I sure understand what you mean.
Arlington, oh, Robert, you know Arlington is Robert E. Lee's plantation. Buried those damn Yankees on Lee's plantation, turned the grounds of Arlington into a cemetery for Union soldiers. A slap in the face of Lee, all on account he decided to fight for me and not for them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Ted Lange. Thank you for coming
Hello,
by
sir.
today.
Ron,
really
how are
appreciate it.
you?
Doing great, doing great. Now, what do you have going on at the festival? That's why you're here today, to talk about your play.
Yes, I wrote a new play called Blues in My Coffee, and it's about two black guys in Starbucks. I wrote this a year before the incident happened in Starbucks with the two guys getting arrested. And so then what I did was I went back and I reworked my original play so that it implemented some of reality of what's going on. Mm-hmm. We did a reading down at the Vision Theater a couple of months ago. I listened to the audience, and this is what is wonderful, what James Burke and the festival is doing, is I got to hear my play, got to hear it with a black audience who it is for. And now I'm reworking it. I'm tweaking it. I'm retooling some of the stuff. And then we're going to do it again in Leimert Park at Barbara Morrison's Performing Arts Center.
Okay. Now, James talked about something that if you've never been to that theater, the Vision Theater, the fact that you walk in the door and the next thing you know, you're on stage.
Yeah, it's right there in the lobby.
Right there in the lobby.
Yeah, well, you know, this is what I found about black people. We make things work no matter what.
On, baby.
In order for us to do our art or to follow our dreams, they've often given us very little. And then we figure out how to take that little and make something out of it. Amen. And so that's exactly what James is doing down there in Leimert Park. I mean, he's hooked up Barbara Morrison, Fernando Pullum, Regency West, all of those things in that area. And it's really important, and it gives us a sense of who we are and what our potential is. And that's what I like about what's going on. I don't know if you know this, but I had the Ira Aldridge Awards back at Inner City.
I have a picture of that. I want to save that. Can you hold that for a second?
Because James worked with that.
I understand. Because see, I know something about this man that some of you guys might not know.
Yeah.
And you want me to tell everybody what it is?
Yeah, go ahead, tell.
He was trained Shakespearean.
Oh, yes, yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. There's a lot of, please explain to some people what that's all about.
Well, you know, I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London, and I studied Shakespeare there. I also, C. Bernard Jackson, who was running Inner City, I wanted to do Hamlet there with Glenn Turman. And so one of the things I did before we did Hamlet was I did a 10-week course for minority kids. So that I brought them in and I used Shakespeare as the guide. Now, at first they were kind of like, well, I said, well, let's take a sonnet. And I bet you can't make a rap song out of this sonnet. And those kids said, what? Oh, yes, I can. And they take it was absolutely amazing. So what I did was I meshed two things. I meshed Old English and I meshed our cultural perspective on things so that I got kids excited about Shakespeare. And so then when we did Hamlet with Glenn Turman and Art Evans and some other people, it turned out really well. It was successful. But I had gone to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London, and there are secrets to this that we as Americans don't get that they as Englishmen know.
Yes.
You know, so what was wonderful is you got to get them drunk, but they start to tell you their secrets, and that's what I did.
He talked about wine.
Yeah. Well, wine is a very good thing. Whenever I have a play, whenever I write a new play, I have a reading at my home. I serve spaghetti and salad and French bread, and I have red wine. Now, after they first read the play, they said, Ted, that's the best play I ever read. I love this part. I want to be in it. And then they start drinking that wine, and they say, then the truth serum comes out. You know, they say, but let me ask you something. How come in this scene? And what I do is I take notes, and that's what helps me with my writing. So I'm changing things, and I'm draping the play or the character on actors that I know. So you showed the Lady Patriot. Yes. The guy that was in is a white actor named Gordon Goodman. He's played John Brown for me. He's played George Washington for me. And that thing that you saw him in he was playing President Jeff Davis, President of the Confederacy. Gotcha. So I have a little troupe of actors that I trust. And so when they have problems with something in the play, I listen to them. Yes. And if I can't explain it, then we have to examine what it is and see how to make it work more to so that the actor gets it, so that the audience will get it, and so that I still keep true to the vision that I'm trying to do.
Okay. Yeah. We have some photographs that we would like you to take a look at along with our audience. Okay. And please tell us what is it that we're seeing right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. That's the Pointer Sisters. I went to high school with the Pointer Sisters.
Okay.
Anita Pointer, who I'm looking at, she and I did the Scottish play together. That's a Shakespearean play. We don't like to say the title, but it's about a guy with 3 witches. Anyway, she and I were in that play together when I was in high school.
Okay.
And then I wrote an episode and went to the producers and said, can we get the Pointer Sisters on Love Boat?
Right.
And that is the end product of us. Now that's me and Fred Grandy. Fred and I think we're in Greece, but he and I, we have a great chemistry. Yes. And we're going to be doing I'm Not Rappaport in New York in March at a theater called the Red Theater. I think it's called the Red Theater in Syracuse, New York. And we're going to be doing that in March.
Okay.
So that's Jill. She was the daughter, and that's us. The night before we got our star, we went out looking for it. So where is it? Where is it? And then we found it. So we took a picture before we did the ceremony the night before. That's her and I. So yeah. Now this is me on General Hospital. I played a judge. You know, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be on a soap opera. So, you know, as a career arc, you know, there's certain things you want to do. I want to do a commercial here to see what that's like. I wanted to do a soap opera to see what that was like. I wanted to do Shakespeare. I wanted to do a television, you know, show and then guest star. So I'm doing things now that, you know, just as an arc of a career, so I get to taste what it is.
Gotcha.
So that's what I was doing. So I got a chance to be, now this picture
This is
here,
what we say for you.
yeah, man, that's my man. That's Ira Aldridge.
Yes.
Who I wrote a musical. We did it at Inner City Cultural Center, called Born a Unicorn, and I sent. This was back in the '80s. He died in Poland.
Okay.
It's called Woots, Poland, and they found out that I had written this musical about Ira, and they asked me to come over to Poland, and they were going to honor Ira Aldridge, and would I join them and lecture on the thing. So I sent them the script and some photos and memorabilia from the production that we did at Inner City, and then I went over and we went to the gravesite, lit candles, and laid flowers
In
on the
Poland?
graves. In Poland.
Wow.
Woots, Poland.
Woots, Poland.
Yeah. So that was a fun time.
And who's this picture?
This is Christy Farris, and she's my favorite actress, and I write parts for her because I know she can deliver the goods. And sometimes she goes, I don't think I can do this. I said, well, you're going to have the best director in L.A. helping you.
Indeed.
She trusts me. So she was in George Washington's Boy. She was in Lady Patriot. She played the lead in that. She played the lead in George Washington's Boy.
Yes.
And then I did a play about John Brown called The Journals of Osborne P. Anderson.
Yes.
I wrote a special part for her in that. And she's just a wonderful actress. And I tell her that you are my muse, you know. And so I wrote a play about a prequel to Othello, and Bianca could be a black woman part. So I made it a black woman part, and I gave it to Christy. There she is with Lou Gossett.
Oh, okay.
She and I. And Lou Gossett, I've known Lou for years, but when we were in Atlanta together, that's the most I ever seen of Lou.
Wow.
Because I was with Christy and Lou said, hey, Ted, how you doing? Come here, sit down over here. Anyway, no, we had a lot of fun.
Okay.
But those are my pals.
Gotcha.
Those are my pals.
Because you used the word muse, and it made me think. Somewhere in my notes, I had something there. I said, "This is what you say: the duty of the artist is to find his muse, then let her rip."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the thing is, here's what I find: that if you write a play with a lot of white characters in it, the playwright is not going to give the black actors that may appear in it their due. So I've flipped it. So what I do is I'll take a white situation that happened in history. That's why I call myself a footnote historian.
Okay.
And I'll flip it. So I'll do a thing about the Confederacy, but the star of it will be the black characters. And so it's from the slave point of view. Okay, so Christy will be Mary Bowser, who turned out to be a spy for the Union.
Right.
Now, a white playwright would just brush over that and concentrate on Jeff Davis or Verena Davis. No, I take it from the point of view of that person. Wow. And that's what I did with George Washington's Boy. It's from the point of view of George Washington's favorite slaves. So you see things through his eyes.
Wow.
And that's what so it looks like a white play, except it has a black perspective on it. And that's what I do. That's my forte right now. So I'm doing a thing that takes place in Starbucks. So Starbucks, you think, okay, brother goes in, gets a cup of coffee.
Right.
You know, white folks in Starbucks, and you think it's going to be about white folks getting coffee. No, it's about two brothers in the coffee house talking about their perspective. And that's what we're lacking. And that's why I like what's going on with Lamert Park Reading Festival is we have to get this out to the artists in our community that your perspective is valid.
Yes.
And we want to hear what you think of the situation.
Okay.
You know, I did a television show called That's My Mama. Okay? Television show was written by Jewish guys. Yeah, I had my big old natural and I was
Cool.
had my body English. So, but that was written by Jewish guys.
Right.
That wasn't written by any black guys.
Right.
You know? So with what's going on with immigration now, I'm so upset with the present administration that I started to write a play about immigrants. That if we look at certain things have never changed. Now, who was the original immigrant? The Jewish people.
Right.
So what I did was I took a Shakespearean play, Merchant of Venice, and there's a character in there that's a very derogatory character toward Jewish people. And I wrote a play from his point of view. It's called The Tears of Shylock. And what it is it tells you what it's like to be an immigrant in Venice, Italy in 1575.
Okay.
Well, certain things have not changed.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
They have not changed. So what I did, so I feel I have the right, since they could write a black sitcom called That's My Mama, I could write from the Jewish point of view on Shylock. But it's not derogatory towards Jewish people, because I was trying to talk to some rabbis, because I like to do historical research. Now I was talking to some rabbis, and they said, well, who's the play on Shylock? They said, I gotta go. Bam. Because they thought I was gonna do what's typically done.
Yes.
And I understand that.
Yes.
But I just finished a play, and so I'm hopefully gonna, do a stage reading of it sometime, and I'll let you know.
Okay. By the way, I did have a chance last week to get an advanced screening on Spike Lee's new movie, Black Klansman.
Yes.
Go see it, please.
Really?
Go see it. 2 hours
Okay.
and 15 minutes. It's a lot of messages in there. Spike, he takes a lot of chances. He does whatever he wants to do.
Is John David Washington Denzel's son?
Washington's son. Yes, he is.
He is. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yes,
what I wanted to know.
He used to be a football player for about 6 years.
Yeah.
And then he got into acting, and look at him. He's got
Well, they hit him pretty hard for him to get out of football and him to say, I'd rather be an actor. They must have hit him, headbutt him.
Speaking of actors, we have a moment or two. I have a campaign, and a lot of people I talk about on this show, where I'm for those actors and actresses who don't want to get up on the stage.
What do you mean?
I talked to a lot of actors and actresses, obviously, for the show and outside. But and I said to them, well, are you doing any stage work? Stage work? I don't do that. Not me. Not me.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a different discipline, Ron. And I once met a very beautiful actress, and I said, wow. I said, you should be doing Taming of the Shrew, and I named some other, Ophelia from Hamlet. She says, oh, no, I will never get on the stage. I said, well, why not? She says, because you can't cut.
That's a poet's excuse.
Well, that was her
what she
fear.
thought, yeah.
That was her fear.
Yeah.
But I came out of theater because particularly when I was coming up as an actor, you couldn't get into movies.
Oh.
You couldn't, they didn't even have makeup for us.
Right.
And when I did one of my first shows, they had to get special, what is called Lena Horne makeup, because that was the last time they used it, and they did it for everybody black. Other than that, you had baby powder that they patted on.
To keep the shine down.
Yeah, man, but they didn't have. So we didn't have anything. So my entree in the show business was the theater. So I'm comfortable on stage.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
There are people that are not comfortable on stage. And so once that curtain goes up, it doesn't come down till you're on the other side of 2 hours.
Right.
So that's a fear factor that some actors have to deal with, and they don't want to deal with it.
Right.
So now I understand it, but you want to go, people want to see you in person sometimes.
Oh, yes.
They don't want to always see you on film. They want to see you in person.
We got just a few minutes left. You brought a couple of books. Can you talk about what you brought?
This is George Washington's Boy. You can go on Amazon.com and get my plays. I have about half a dozen plays on Amazon. Okay. This one, they want to do a reading of it in Texas, and the lady told me, she says, well, it was rated one of the most important plays, American plays. Out of 200 plays, they out of all the plays in America, this was in the top 200 as one of the most important American plays. So I didn't know that.
Yes.
So anyway, so if you want to read something really fun and get a perspective on George Washington
Yes.
from another point of view.
Slave owner.
Yeah,
Slave owner.
Yeah. Slave owner. And had a child.
Right.
Had a child
Oh,
from
yes.
Venus,
Right.
which white historians try to discount. They don't want to go there.
That's right.
But I did the research.
Right.
You know, so no, it's true. He had a black child named Westford. You can Google Westford, and his mama's name was Venus. Anyway, this is a play that was very popular. I won Best Play from the NAACP 1997. It's about 4 black women, and I call them 4 Queens, No Trump, and they meet and play bid-whist every Friday. So this is a fun play if you want to see a slice of black life. 4 Queens, No Trump.
Outstanding.
Thank you,
Before
sir.
we go, tell us about the cast of your play.
The cast of my play. There's a guy named T.J. Jones, Thomas Anthony Jones, rather. We call him T.J. And he's one of the guys, and another guy named Don Swaby. These are the 2 guys that are the actors that are in the coffee shop.
Okay.
And then what they do is one guy sees a blonde girl, and the other guy sees a black woman, and it is a comedic approach, interpersonal relationships, how these 2 guys go after these 2 women, and they take notes and exchange notes on, well, how you doing? Did that girl go for that? Oh man, I can't believe it. Did that black chick, she liked what you said? Yeah. So that's what it is, but it turns into Black Lives Matter.
Wow. May I say, you're one of the most creative persons I've ever met.
Oh, thank you,
really,
sir.
really get together. You write so many books and things like that.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
of course, that role you played,
Isaac Washington.
that guy, yeah.
On the Love Boat, in case
Yes.
you were wondering, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
Yes. No, that opened a lot of doors for me.
Yes.
And I got to write television episodes. I got to direct television. And all of that was built, the building blocks. It's like I said, hey, I want to be on a soap.
Yes.
Well, I want to learn how to direct. Well, I want to learn how to write television.
Yes.
So the Love Boat was great in that it afforded me opportunities to expand myself.
You told me, how many episodes did you do?
Oh, I did about 17 or 18 episodes, but it was like the last 6 years of the show I started directing. Wow. So I do 3 here, 2 there, you know.
Wow.
And it added up to about 17, I think.
What do people say to you when they see you?
They say, can I have a drink? And if I walk into a bar, I get drinks free. Because they go, hey, man, aren't you? Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I want you to try this. Tell me what you think. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's funny. It stays with you.
It does.
Yeah, it stays with you.
marvelous.
But it's something that I'm glad stayed with me. You know, some guys play villains and they walk into a room and everybody's not happy, you know. So I'm very happy with the character.
And I know
that we
one thing
did.
you're very happy with. You got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Man, that was unreal, Ron.
It was.
I'm telling you, it was unreal. And then I had friends that I hadn't seen. My high school drama teacher is the guy that told me to become an actor.
Yes.
And so he lives down south near San Diego. So I had a limousine pick him up and bring him up for the ceremony as a kind of a thank you. Because he literally changed my life.
Yeah.
He changed my life because I was headed not in a great direction, but, you know, not in a terrible, not terrible. But he opened up the world to me by having me choose or influencing me to choose theater and drama and show business.
What's next for you, sir?
Well, next I'm going to do this Shylock play.
Okay.
So I'm going to have my spaghetti dinner, have them all sit around. It's written in verse, iambic pentameter. So we're going to sit down and peel away this play. And what I do is there's going to be things that happen to Jewish people you had no idea. You had no idea. But I did the research on it. So what they did in 1575, like putting kids in cages now.
Right.
You know, they were doing that in 1575,
Just to
man.
repeat itself.
Yeah. So you go, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know? And the fact that, here's one of the things that I find fascinating, because, and I like to talk about, which God is better, the Christian God or the Islamic God?
That's true.
They're both the same.
They're both the same. God is God.
God is God. It's the same God. So wait a minute. Then when you deal with the Jewish religion, Jehovah,
Right.
which God is he? It's the same.
Same God, right.
It's the same God. You're just going, there's 3 separate paths for you to get up the mountain. You know? So that's part of what I explore in there. You know? Because if you don't say God, you say Allah. But it's the same stories. Abraham's story of Abraham, Noah, Adam. What are we? Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting if it's the same God? I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know. So that's one of the issues that we explore in there.
Mr. Lange, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as the guy that bought you a drink when you needed it most. Call me, Ron. We'll go out and have a good drink. I'll make it for you if you want. No, I know I'm going to be remembered for Love Boat. But the other thing is, I hope someone says, hey, you know what? He also wrote some plays.
Yeah.
You know, and I would love people to read the plays or do the plays.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And we say special thanks to our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin, 5150 The Book, Larry Buford, Back to the Future, Time Travel Message in a Capsule, and State Farm Agent Carla Green. Much thanks to our guests, producer, director James V. Burks, and renowned actor, writer, educator, producer Ted Lange.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much for being here today, sir.
Always good
And
to
of course,
see you.
we want to thank all of our audience, because without them, we wouldn't be doing what we was. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.